Hey guys, Ken here from the Retro Toys Escapades channel in Malaysia. Hasbro just put out a huge announcement online as part of Marvel's 85th anniversary celebrations, and it's the return of the 90s Ghost Rider to Marvel Legends. And he's bringing his huge flaming motorcycle too. Special thanks and shout out to Toy Shiz and Total Toy Recon for sharing the details online. This is a release that has no doubt got fans all fired up with excitement. Many of us grew up in the 90s and have fond memories of the Ghost Rider comic book, which was one of Marvel's most popular books at the time. And this was the era of an all-new, grittier Ghost Rider, who was now Danny Ketch. And the announcement of this release also gives me some serious throwback vibes to the early 2000s when Marvel Legends was originally being released by Toy Biz, and they put out this absolutely spectacular Danny Ketch Ghost Rider and motorcycle set. And I'm going to be talking about this set and also doing a throwback review of it in the video, so stay tuned guys. Hasbro unveiled this beast of a set as part of their Marvel Legends Pulse event last night, and it was easily the highlight piece of the entire showcase. The set includes an updated 6-inch version of Rider Danny Ketch, who comes with alternate hands and a flaming chain weapon. Now let's not forget that we also got an updated retro 90s inspired Johnny Blaze figure a while ago, and this was one of the standout figures for 2022. This figure would give us an early taste of what a modern day Ghost Rider figure would feel like, with updated sculpting and articulation. It's pretty lame though that they did not give him some real metal chains. Comparing between Johnny and Danny, the head sculpts look fairly similar. Danny's jacket, however, is completely redesigned, and I like how the paint apps make it look as though it has a real leather texture. Now we also find that the Danny Ketch figure comes with spiked armbands, a new belt, and also new boots. Sadly, there's no metal chains on him either. Okay, now these two figures side by side will give you the best ever current interpretations of these characters as captured in 6-inch scale action figure format. But guys, for this video, like I mentioned, we're bringing out the classic Danny Ketch figure for a full comparison. And this was the figure released with Marvel Legends Series 3 all the way back in 2002, 22 years ago. And one of the first things you'll notice is that the sculpt has him permanently hunched over. You can't get his legs to stand up straight and he will topple over. Watch this. There. The rider's down. Okay, look, this was basically the action figure body that they went with, and it all comes down to just finding that sweet spot to getting him standing. So this is it right there. His shit. Okay, let's move on. All right, here's a view from the back. He pretty much looks like a punk rocker here. There's no indication that it's the Ghost Rider. Now see that? Real metal chains, man. This is what the fuss has been all about. The face sculpt is punishingly detailed. At the time, you would only get stuff this detailed from McFarlane Toys, so seeing it from Toy Biz was a real surprise. Of course, at the time, they didn't think to make his flame head translucent, so what you got was some hard plastic flames instead for his hair. Now, the neck ball joint is really good. It's also really exposed, okay? But at least you get a solid range of motion. Now, the chest section just looks terrible to me. They gave him a super large chest frame and slapped the sculpt of the jacket on him. And then on top of that, he also gets a really tiny waist. Okay, but you do get an amazing chest joint. Okay, in 2002, there were only so few figures in the market that could do something like this. Okay, rock a chest back and forth like this, and then you pair all this up together with a waist joint. I mean, there's just no direction that evildoers can escape from Ghost Rider's penance stare. Now, Marvel Legends were also some of the first ever retail figures to offer some truly incredible arm articulation. We had the ball jointed shoulders on this. He also came with the upper bicep swivel, and then we had the elbow bend and also a swivel wrist. And the most unexpected of them all were the hands. Okay, the hands would give us articulated fingers. Right? It's amazing. Not all of them, but just enough for you to open and close them and also use them to grip onto things. Okay, this is stuff that we rarely ever saw in figures, okay, back then. And then we have the legs, which also have fantastic articulation for a 2002 toy. The thighs are ball jointed, and then you get an upper thigh swivel joint. You get a knee bend, you get an ankle joint, and even the tip of the foot can move. All right, how about that? Now, one thing I will say about these old Toy Biz Marvel Legends figures with the skinnier body frames, the parts and joints can and have broken over time. So while you might be really excited about getting them in some pretty wild poses, you do still have to be gentle when you're handling them, all right? Now, this classic figure is not perfect, but in those early days of the millennium, it was certainly the best Danny Ketch Ghost Rider figure that fans and collectors had ever gotten their hands on. Of course, the main highlight of this set is Ghost Rider's bike. And from everything that has been presented, Hasbro appears to be very committed to giving fans the ultimate version of this flaming cycle. Now, this was a more modern look for the rider's bike that was introduced in the 90s and quickly caught on with fans. The rider and bike look amazing together, and both of them are scaled really well too. When I look back at the Toy Biz version, well, I picked this up in 2002 at retail when it first came out. I unpacked it, posed it some more, and then I had it up on display where it's pretty much been for the last 20 years. Okay, so I'm actually handling this thing for the first time in 2 decades. And I have to tell you, staring at it now, the rider looks way too big for the bike. Okay, from some angles, it doesn't look so bad, but still, the proportions are just really off. And I guess at the time, this is just something that we went along with because there was really nothing else in the industry to compare it to. But who could have predicted the future of the toy industry in which Hasbro is now giving us a premium enhanced version of the cycle, one that's filled with so much new detailing. And I'm just loving the details here on the dashboard. All those gauges and instruments, there's so much craftsmanship here. Also, it must be pointed out that the bike will come with a movable foot peg, another special feature for this release. Now, the Toy Biz bike is in comparison mostly just one thick and solid slab of plastic. Okay, there is some intricate detailing all along the vehicle and even on the underside. Okay, there's some very nice exposed sections of machinery here. And the paint apps are nice as well, with traces of oil and grime and likely even residue from the flames. The dashboard area is also filled with gauges sculpted in, not with as much finesse as you saw in the new Hasbro version, but they are present. There's a hard sculpted seat for the rider to rest on. Now, it does have foot pegs that attach to the underside of the figure's feet, but I do feel that these needed to be a bit longer as the rider's feet do keep slipping off even though they're plugged in. Okay, now the front shield is in the shape of a skull, but of course, what else would it be? Now this has a very smooth matte-like finishing to it, and it would have been nice though if the eyes could glow in the dark. When you look at the new Hasbro version though, the shield looks like it's been through some serious combat. Okay, it's got dents all over it. This thing has seen enemy fire. And also another innovation they've included is the use of translucent wheels. Now these look amazing. These will give you the illusion of the wheels generating flames as they're rolling, right? By comparison, the old Toy Biz vehicle had the wheels done up with the flames sculpted together on them, right? Now these just could not move at all. They're just there for show. But on the underside, you do get these very tiny rolling wheels, okay? Right? These are super small, but they do allow the vehicle to move, all right? So, that's a bit of a compromise that they made back in the day just to give you the illusion of the flames being there on the wheels. But as you can see, you can get the rider on the bike and get this whole thing just moving. But however, I do notice that once you get this thing moving, it does let off a little bit of a squeak, right? There's an annoying sound that comes from these two tiny wheels. interacting with the surface or whatever it is that is rolling on. So yes, okay, that sound can be a bit annoying, but you can get the rider moving in action, get him just rocking and rolling straight on, okay, towards the path of justice. Okay. Vroom, 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 vroom. Oops. Okay, Hasbro have improved on the Toy Biz version by having a set of translucent flame bases that are separate from the wheels of the bike and that you can place against the front and back wheels to create the burning rubber look. Also, they've included another flaming base attachment that goes into the middle underside of the bike so you can have it look as though it is soaring through the air, just flaming and flying. This is an amazing display effect that is certain to win fans over, and it is very generous of Hasbro that they made the extra effort to include it in. Now, the Toy Biz vehicle did also have a cool innovation of its own. If you notice, the vehicle is actually not even listed as a vehicle on the original packaging. They called it a wall-mountable display stand, and in fact, the use of the word display stand here is actually being really humble of them, because what these were full-on dioramas. Okay, they were really intricate looking platforms with lots of additional sculpting added onto them. So it wasn't just like a mere straightforward display stand that you just pop the figure onto and just let it stand there. No, this was way much more than that. And sometimes you would get really lucky because they would include a full-on vehicle. Figures like Cable, Mr. Fantastic, Blade even, all of these guys came with vehicles. And so in the case of Ghost Rider here, this is actually a vehicle, but it's somehow disguised to be something of a display stand or base, I don't know. But they've included these slots underneath the vehicle here, which you can use to hook this thing onto something like a nail or some other kind of object, alright? And you can replicate the look, the famous iconic look of Ghost Rider riding the bicycle up alongside the side of a wall or a building, just like in the comics. And it actually works really great. Okay, the execution here looks really nice. However, I will have to advise you to not leave it hanging around in this position for too long, because while the bike will hold on, the figure in fact will not, okay? So the figure will actually fall off the bike. You know, I've tried it so many different ways. It doesn't stay onto the bike right now in this position. Okay, like I said, the foot pegs are not even strong enough to hold it, so it will fall off. And if the figure falls off from a certain height, it will crack, right, in places that you don't want it to. So do not leave it in this position for too long. Okay, guys. Full disclosure here, I've not handled this thing in about 20 years. And in fact, when I touched it, when I just literally touched this thing, all right, after such a long time, parts of it did come off, such as the front shield. All right, this whole thing just came off in my hands. The whole thing is actually put together by these tabs, and they've added glue to it as well. So what happened is that the glue dried off after all these decades and the thing just came off. And you could actually just attach it back, I guess, with the tabs there, but it doesn't hold on too good unless you apply glue as well. Earlier in the video when you saw me racing this thing, you saw the thing pop off as well. The other thing that popped off is also the side handle here. This thing is also actually slotted in to the side of the vehicle. However, there is a fair amount of glue that's involved as well. Once the glue dries off, this whole thing just comes off. And then the other thing that I think is probably going to come off next is possibly the foot pegs here, because I can see where it was actually inserted into the vehicle and there's glue there applied as well. So once the glue dries off, this thing will pop off as well. So when you're looking out for these units on the secondary market on eBay, these are maybe some of the things you want to look out for. Alternately, just keep a tube of super glue handy right next to you. Okay guys, this new Ghost Rider set that's announced by Hasbro is amazing looking. It's a real treat to fans. This thing will be on pre-order for $49.99 USD. I think that that's a pretty great price for everything that you're getting with this set. I don't know what you guys think about it. Thank you for watching the video. Thank you for checking out this comparison and throwback review of the classic 2003 Toy Biz Ghost Rider figure. Let me know what you thought of it in the comment section below. Hit me up right there, and I'll catch you guys again real soon with more content. Take care.